Percival and his grandpa, Verges, are really enjoying themselves in a faraway place called God's Finger. They spend their days hunting, fishing in the sky, and wrestling. Percival loves food and is always hungry for more. But Verges notices that Percival doesn't seem interested in leaving God's Finger to see what else is out there in the world. The day before Percival turns 16, his grandpa Verges asks if he ever thinks about leaving home for exciting adventures. Percival says he doesn't want to leave and prefers staying with Verges. But Verges tells him about Britannia, an amazing kingdom full of adventures and mysteries. He talks about the sights and dangers outside of God's Finger. This place has a tower where a wizard lives, keeping to himself, a knight who sails a ghostly ship in the sky, a big cave with holes leading to a scary place, a lady who tricks heroes near a magical lake, and a confusing maze that traps people. But Percival doesn't want to go on adventures like his dad, who left God's Finger as soon as he grew up. That same night, the knight who sails the ghost ship arrives at God's Finger, looking for Verges. The knight says he's a friend of Verges's and they've had many adventures together. Percival, being an idiot as usual, tells the knight where his grandfather was. The knight goes to look for Verges and they start to have a sword fight.
Sing, 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 sing!
But then the knight uses his magic to cut a hole in Verges's stomach. Percival shows up and sees what happened, but he was confused. He tries to stop the knight, but the knight uses his magic to cut a bunch of holes in Verges. He then proceeds to cut Percival and leaves him to die. The knight explains that there is a prophecy that says there will be 4 knights who'll bring an end to King Arthur. Since no one knows who these knights are, the knight is on a mission to kill anyone who might be a threat to King Arthur. Verges dies from his injuries, but before he goes, he tells Percival the truth. The knight that attacked them was his father. If he wants to learn the truth, then he must find his father. After a few days, Percival puts on his grandpa's helmet and heads down the mountain to Britannia. Before he could get to the bottom, he fell off the mountain. He sees a fox and tries to talk to him, but the fox realizes that Percival was a weirdo and runs away from him. Percival sees a group of losers practicing tricks and compliments them. They travel around Britannia performing tricks to make money. These performers all wanted to be holy knights once, but their dreams didn't come true because they are weak, pathetic losers with not enough magic to be a knight. Now they do tricks to survive. Percival asks if they can help him find his dad, Ironside, who's a holy knight and the one who killed his grandpa, Verges. Donnie decides he will rob Percival, but he has money. Donnie asked him for his bag and the dummy gave it to him, so Donnie used his magic to make Percival float, then left him. Due to his incredible strength, Percival was able to quickly catch up to them, so they agreed to take Percival to the nearest town, hoping he'll find information about Ironside there. On the journey, they hear about a wolf attacking the town. Donnie figured defeating a wolf would be easy, so he decides they should go stop it and let the villagers pay them. They got there and realized it was a huge beast. Percival decides he won't run, but instead he will fight the wolf. Surprisingly, Percival easily beats the wolf with one slap in the face. However, it turns out the wolf was sent by another holy knight to test Percival. Because Percival saves the villagers, they welcome him warmly. Elva decides to go take a bath with Percival. This dumb loser is living every man's dream. Elva sees Percival's wound he got from his father and tries to comfort him. Percival asks the villagers about Ironside, but no one in the village knows anything about him. Then the holy knight who sent the wolf comes to see Percival. He was surprised because Ironside told him that Verges and his son were already dead. This holy knight, Pelegard, also known as the Black Knight, is from the same kingdom as Percival's father. Pelegard and Percival begin to fight. He was impressed by Percival's strength, however he was still no match for him. They make a deal where if Pelegard wins, he'll tell Percival about Ironside, but if Percival wins, he'll have to become Pelegard's minion. Percival unlocks his plot armor and suddenly discovers his own magic and pushes Pelegard away. Pelegard is shocked when Percival pushes him away using magical powers he said he never had. This surprises everyone because Percival always said he didn't have any magic. Pelegard uses his own magic, called Pyre, to attack Percival. Percival dodges most of Pelegard's attacks and blocks the ones he can't dodge. An attack hits Percival, but he uses his magic to protect his body from taking too much damage. He then uses his magic to create small clones that attack Pelegard. Percival then gets healed by his magic and he gets up. Pelegard then realizes that Percival's magic is very rare, something only a few people in a million have. But he's worried that if news of Percival's power spreads, King Arthur will send his holy knights to find and get rid of Percival. Donnie tries to help by using magic to lift Pelegard into the air, but Pelegard launches a huge attack hitting everyone. Then something strange happens. A talking fox shows up and uses a transportation crystal to take Donnie and Percival far away from the town. The fox took them far away on top of Aaron's spine. The fox says it's part of a group fighting against the evil king's army of knights. They're searching for the 4 knights of apocalypse: famine, pestilence, war, and death. And shockingly, Percival is one of them. Meanwhile, Pelegard is in a meeting with other holy knights, led by Ironside. They're sending knights out to find and get rid of anyone who might be one of the knights of apocalypse. They even have a description of what these knights might look like. They say one of the knights of apocalypse has magic that shines like gold, another has both good and bad in their eyes, one is mysterious and hard to describe, and one has green hair like a bird's wings. They're all young boys, mostly still learning. Ironside is mad at Pelegard for letting Percival get away, but Pelegard thinks they should train Percival to be a great knight instead. Unlike Ironside, Pelegard doesn't think Percival will become a threat to King Arthur or bring about the end of the world. The talking fox, named Sin, tells Donnie and Percival his father is in Camelot, but Donnie thinks it was destroyed in a war 16 years ago. Sin calls Donnie foolish and says to get to Camelot, they first should go to the kingdom of Lyonesse. Donnie hesitates at first, but he eventually agrees to go with Percival in the end. Percival and Donnie make a deal to see who can catch the most animals to eat. Percival runs off on his own into a dark, creepy forest. While Donnie was hunting, he meets Dolores, a huge nun who believes in the goddesses rather than the earth. Percival hears someone crying for help and decides he will go check it out. He goes to help the creature escape, but then the creepy scientist kidnaps Percival so he can do creepy scientist stuff on him. Bob and Nob think it's too risky to try to rescue Percival because the forest is very dangerous. They say Nausian, who lives there, can turn plants and animals into monsters with his potions. But Dolores disagrees, believing Nausian is a good kid. Meanwhile, Nausian chains up Percival and tries to use his potions on him. But thanks to Percival's powers, he quickly recovers. This makes Percival a good test subject for Nausian experiments. Percival breaks free and offers to help Nausians with his experiment. When Nausian refuses, Percival grabs the purple potion and drinks it himself. Nausian was shocked because anyone willing to drink that potion must be a special kind of idiot. Percival faints and is in pain, but then he gets up full of energy, revealing that the potion works. Nausian also drinks what's left in the vial and passes out. Soon after, help arrives, and Percival tries to convince everyone that Nausian is innocent and actually wants to help Echo Gorge. In his confused state, Nausian mentions the name Ordo, a herbalist who came to Gorge years ago when it was still beautiful. Ordo became friends with Dolores, Bob, and Nob and practically raised Nausian after he was abandoned. However, one day Ordo mysteriously disappeared, and that's when Nausian started his evil experiments. The fairies try to attack Nausian, but Percival defends him, urging them to help Nausian restore Gorge to its former beauty. Nausian has a special power where he can drink any potion or poison, and his body will remember it. This allows him to make and mix potions whenever he wants. He calls this power venom mixing. Nausian sprinkles his new potions all over Echo Gorge, and it starts to go back to how it used to be. The trees that were dying now look alive and green again, and the animals that turned into scary monsters are back to normal. Once Echo Gorge is saved, everyone, even the fairies who were attacking him earlier, praises Nausian. Nausian explains that, ever since Ordo disappeared, the plants and animals in Echo Gorge started losing their life, and that's why he started his experiments. Suddenly, they're attacked by a huge ugly monster that breathes poison, destroying the forest again. They realize the monster is actually Ordo, who was turned into a beast by a cunning and wicked fairy. The monster picks up Nausian and Dolores tries to save him, but the monster attacks her and knocks her out. A fairy shows up and says that Ordo is a criminal who has to ruin the gorge to pay for his mistakes. Ordo goes after Dolores, but Percival stops him with one punch. The fairy and Ordo get taken out by an arrow, and Talisker, one of Arthur's knights, shows up. Percival and Nausian question Talisker about the crimes that caused Ordo to become a monster. Talisker agrees to talk, but only if they can hit him once. Nausian surprises Talisker with his magic abilities. He can both spray poisons and enchant things. Percival tries to use his magic too, but he farts instead. Nausian tries to attack Talisker but uses hail from the sky to attack. Percival saves Nausian, but Talisker makes Ordo attack Nausian and tells him to kill Nausian. Percival stops him and tries to talk sense into Ordo, reminding him of who he used to be and the memories they shared. Ordo starts to remember Nausian, but Talisker gets upset and tries to bury Ordo and Nausian under a hailstorm, but Percival steps in and crushes all the ice with his bare hands, saving them both. Percival finally activates his plot armor and uses his magic to heal himself and powers up to Super Saiyan Green. Talisker is surprised because he's never seen such magic before, just like Pelagard. Even Sin, the talking fox, can't understand Percival's magic. Talisker launches another hail attack from the sky, but Percival catches it, then shoots it back at Talisker. Talisker gets upset and attacks Percival, but he blocks all of Talisker's attacks. Percival creates a giant hand and lands a hit on Talisker, and as promised, Talisker explains why Ordo is suffering. Talisker explains that Arthur created a rule where humans can't help other races, to prevent them from attacking humans again, but Ordo was in the gorge helping the fairies and other animals. Talisker warned Ordo to stop, but he didn't listen, so Talisker turned him into a monster as punishment for his crimes. Talisker calls upon Riot Piercer, one of his strongest attacks, but Percival absorbs his attack and uses it to attack him. Talisker tries another attack, but Percival transforms his magic into a sword and stops the attack, then blasts Talisker through the mountain. Percival tries to turn off his magic, but he doesn't know how to do it. Dolores wakes up and reveals that she hardened her skin to prevent her body from taking any damage. Sin finds and destroys Takasker's staff, allowing Ordo to become human once again. Everyone celebrates Ordo's return, with Nausian sharing a warm hug with Ordo. Percival and Donnie continue their journey to Camelot, and Nausian decided to join them. Ironside goes to see a man he trusts to find something important. The man says he's still looking and hasn't found it yet. The man's daughter has the power to tell when people are lying and notices that Ironside is lying to them. Meanwhile, Sin is teaching Donnie to control his power to make things float, and Percival how to focus his magic. The group is tired of traveling and asks Sim to use a special orb to take them straight to the kingdom of Lyonesse. But Sin doesn't have any more orbs left because he used them before to save Percival and Donnie from Pelagard, so the group has to keep walking on their journey. They get to a town called Sistana and find the thing Ironside was looking for. And confronts them, thinking they're going to give the thing to Ironside, and attacks them. And calms down when she sees that Percival is honest, unlike Nausian and Donnie. Winon's dad calls her. She asks Percival to hide the thing so Ironside can't get it. And knows Ironside is bad and won't hesitate to hurt people for his king. She tries to tell her dad, Lord Caden, but he hits her. Percival sees Ironside in the town, threatening everyone with a disaster. Ironside shows the people half of the fragment of coffin, saying they need to find the other half to stop a disaster and save their town. Ironside doesn't really care about helping the town. He just wants to sacrifice them to activate the artifact. And calls him out, saying he's lying. This makes Ironside angry, and he threatens to hurt Anne. Percival can't just watch anymore. He attacks Ironside with his magic, creating a distraction, then runs away with Anne. Sin and the rest run away to find their piece of the artifact, but Ironside's helper, who was pretending to be Anne's servant, already took it. Now that Ironside has both pieces, he activates the artifact and gets ready for the sacrifice. They come up with a plan to attack Ironside and take a piece of the artifact to prevent Ironside from using it. Ironside combines both pieces of the artifact and begins a ritual. He summons evil spirits, creatures that thrive on chaos, and tells them to kill the people in the village as a sacrifice. These chaos creatures can turn regular things into huge monsters. Ironside tells his helper, Darak, to lead them and sacrifice everyone in the town. Percival and the group rush to the town square and beg Ironside to stop the ritual. Percival begs Ironside to stop the ritual, but he refuses to stop. Percival attacks him, but Ironside easily blocks his attacks while focusing on the ritual. To save himself, Donnie runs away from the town like a coward.
I am currently wetting my pants.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
And attacks Ironside, but he blocks her attacks and shreds her clothes in the process. And decides to take off her dress. Nausian poisons his sword and attacks, but Ironside breaks free easily. Ironside creates a bunch of small explosions hitting everyone. Meanwhile, Donnie tries to escape but runs into a weird monster with 4 tongues. Not gonna lie, its head game must be crazy. Donnie hides and wonders what he should do. I don't know about him, but I know exactly what I would do.
Stop it. Get some help.
Everyone gets injured in the attack, but Percival uses his powers to protect and heal everyone. Ironside stabs Percival's hands and threatens to kill anyone who tries to help. Ironside continues to step on Percival and tortures him, then he stabs Percival in the heart and kills him. Ironside tells the demons to attack everyone in the village and kill them. Nausian tries to wake up Percival with healing potions, but it doesn't work. And drinks the potion and kisses Percival like, seriously, how is this loser getting all the women? Donnie decides to use his magic to make the demons float, then runs back to the square to help his friends. Okay, but seriously, I can't be the only one who is thinking it. Meanwhile, due to the power of friendship and plot armor, Percival's magic fully heals him and makes him 10 times stronger than he was before. Percival discovers a new power called Hope, which turns others' emotions into strength. But Ironside believes it's just a temporary fix. He threatens to kill Percival first, then destroy the town and its people, which Percival wants to protect desperately. Meanwhile, Derac is gathering people for sacrifice, but a mysterious warrior with a knife defeats all of his monsters. Derac is no match and is quickly defeated by the stranger. Ironside, seeing his plans foiled, pretends to change his ways. He says he wants to see Percival's face before dying. But Anne, using her magic, sees through Ironside's lies and tells Percival that he's lying. Ironside gets mad and attacks Percival and the others, but Percival evades his attacks. Percival decides to stop dodging and goes after Ironside. He charges at Ironside and breaks the coffin of eternal darkness. In the process, Percival also breaks Ironside's helmet, revealing his face for the first time. Ironside tries to attack again, but he is stopped by Mortlack, another holy knight. Mortlack tells Ironside about the mysterious warrior who ruined his plans by beating the monsters. Mortlack thinks this warrior might be one of the 7 deadly sins or someone just as powerful. He advises Ironside to retreat, and Ironside agrees. After things calm down, Sin comes back and says he brought his forest friends to fight the monsters. But there's something suspicious about Sin's dark aura and thinks he might be hiding something. In Camelot, King Arthur Pendragon is angry with Ironside for not killing a child who is also one of the 4 knights of the apocalypse. Ironside, loyal to the king, doesn't make excuses and begs Arthur to punish him. Arthur tortures him by destroying his insides, then threatens to kill him if he fails again. Ironside promises to do better and is ordered to find a bride for Arthur. Meanwhile, back in Sistana, Anne's father, Lord Caden, thanks Percival and his friends for saving the city. He also tells them how he knows Ironside. According to Caden, Ironside was once a noble knight who served with Anne's mother, a holy knight, in King Arthur's army. He was a noble and honest man who cared about justice. And tells her father she wants to leave town to become a knight like her mother. Caden agrees, knowing he can't change Anne's mind. And then joins Percival's group and they head to Camelot. When Anne learns that Percival doesn't know much about the Holy War or the 7 deadly sins, she is surprised and shows him a poster of Meliodas. She's going to be shocked when he finds out Meliodas is actually a midget. And tells Percival that the 7 deadly sins were knights who were accused of plotting against the king, but they actually saved the kingdom many times. And also decides to be the leader of the group for better organization. Sin checks the map and says they should go through the Dalflare range and stop in a town called Cant. And wants to take a different route through the mountains, but Sin ignores her like usual. Back in Cant, Hauser, a holy knight from Lyonesse, is drowning his sorrows in a pub. He's the one who was teaching Donnie to be a holy knight before he ran away and joined the circus. The group tries to find a place to stay, but spends all their money on things they don't need because shopping is more important than having a place to sleep. Sin gets angry and calls her idiot, so she decides to return everything she bought. Meanwhile, Donnie and Nazian go to the pub and meet Hauser, who is Donnie's uncle. Hauser is surprised to see Donnie has left his training to join a circus. Things get worse when Hauser sees a piece of the coffin of eternal darkness. Hauser punches Donnie, calling him a coward, and takes the piece. He also causes trouble and steals Anne's money from gambling. Nazian suggests a way to solve the problem and challenges Hauser to a drinking game. During the game, Nazian notices something suspicious about the town and warns Percival and Anne to be cautious. However, Percival and Anne faints. Eventually, they realize that the people in the town are not real locals but bandits working for Edlin, another trainee of Hauser's who wants to become a knight. The bandits surround Hauser and Nazian. Their leader, Edlin, comes into the bar with the intention of robbing them and others. In reality, Edlin leads a group of bandits who hide around the town and steal from travelers who stop at Cant for supplies or a place to stay. Hauser was in town to catch these bandits and make them face the consequences for their actions. Additionally, Edlin was one of Hauser's students, whom he was training to be a knight. However, instead of choosing the honorable path, Edlin chose to become a dishonest bandit. Hauser gets up and intimidates the bandits, however he faints due to drinking too much. Nazian uses a potion to knock out the bandits, however he doesn't get Edlin. He tries to leave but Edlin uses an illusion of Percival to trick Nazian, then sneaks up behind him and knocks him out. Edlin, seeing his old friend Donnie, tries to persuade him to join the bandits and help them steal from travelers. At first, Donnie thinks Edlin is joking, but when Edlin threatens Donnie's friends, Donnie realizes he's serious. When Donnie refuses to join, Edlin summons a huge dragon, showing him how he's able to get away with robbing people. Meanwhile, the barkeeper has a change of heart and sets Nausean and the others free. The bandit tells them about the dragon that Edlin has somehow tamed. The barkeeper reveals that Edlin stole the dragon's egg, making the dragon follow him wherever he goes. It turns out that the egg Edlin has isn't real, it's just a fake. The barkeeper thinks Edlin is actually a good kid who acts tough to control his crew. He always lets go of the people the bandits catch, which made the other members of his crew upset. The barkeeper shows them where Edlin has hidden the real baby dragon. The dragon egg hatched and Edlin has been hiding the baby behind the wall in the prison. The bandits betray Edlin because he told them to not harm the prisoners. They knock out Edlin and take the egg, but they drop it and the egg disappears, revealing it was an illusion. The dragon gets angry after seeing the egg disappear and starts to destroy the town. Edlin starts to run from the dragon, but he struggles to escape. Edlin was about to fall off the building, but Donnie helps him by using his magic to make him float in the air. Donnie and Edlin jump off the building and the dragon shoots a fireball at them, but Percival creates a Susano which catches them and the fireball. Percival shoots the fireball back at the dragon, but it doesn't hurt him. Nausean is trying to heal the baby dragon by giving it a healing potion because it's too weak to swallow on its own. Meanwhile, Sin calls Hauser pathetic for not helping Donnie and explains to him that Donnie risked his life to get the fragment of the coffin. Hauser is shocked and couldn't believe what Sin told him. He decides he will go help Donnie and save the town. Percival is doing his best to fight the dragon, but he is too weak and his attacks aren't working. And decides that they should run away on her horse, but they are too heavy and the horse falls. The dragon is going to kill them when Hauser comes to the battlefield and easily stops the dragon's fire with his rising tornado move. His attacks are so powerful that they send the huge dragon flying away like it's nothing. Everyone was shocked because they thought Hauser was a drunk loser with no talent. Hauser hits the dragon with a giant tornado and easily defeats it. Percival is impressed by Hauser's abilities and wants to be like him one day. He even tried to copy his moves, but Hauser was embarrassed. Nausean was able to heal the baby dragon and brought it back to its mom safely. They were worried the dragon would attack again, but Hauser explained that the dragon only attacked because they stole her egg, so everything should be fine now. Donnie and Edlin used to train with Hauser to become holy knights. But Hauser was often too tough on them, making them feel small and not considering their feelings. He didn't realize they were trying their best and were afraid of disappointing him. When Donnie left, it made things worse for Edlin. Feeling the same pressure, Edlin also left and joined the bandits to seek approval. Hauser shares some blame for their actions and he apologized to them. In the end, they forgive each other. Instead of punishing Edlin, Hauser offers to train him again so they can all become holy knights together. Edlin decides to go with Hauser and start training again, while Donnie decides to pursue his old dream of becoming a holy knight. Hauser explains to them that Arthur will come after them to take the fragment of the coffin of darkness, however everyone was scared and didn't want to touch it. Of course, Percival, being an idiot, decides he will take it. Hauser decides to make a special sword using a piece of the coffin of darkness and gives it to Percival. Hauser tells Sin he should tell the king that he found Percival. Sin hides and transforms back to his true form, then sends a message to Meliodas by shooting a magical arrow that travels a long distance to Lioness. The glowing arrow signals that Sin has found the knight from a prophecy who will stop Arthur's rule of terror. Meliodas was excited to meet them, but for some reason his voice sounds like that weird alien TikTok voiceover that everyone uses.
Well, well, what do you know? I wonder what they're like.
Anyways, this is the end of the video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it.